I'm here with Miss Patricia Prime. She is a nurse and a lactation specialist. She is a lactation consultant, actually. And she's here today to talk to us about her role as a postpartum doula and everything that goes on beyond the 6 weeks after postpartum. How are you doing today?
Oh, good. How are you? How
I'm
are
great.
you? I'm so excited to be here.
Well, it's always good spending time with you, either
It
in
is.
person or via the internet. We've done a lot of Zoom.
Yes, we have. Yes, we have. I'm glad we made that connection. I really
Yes.
am.
Well, first question is, what exactly is postpartum?
So I I do what I do, I just do it. I think it's just a passion of mine. I just do it. But when that question came up today, I was like, let me look it up so I can make sure I'm saying the right words. But it's basically the period of time after a woman has given birth. Postpartum defined is the period of time following the birth of a child. And it's usually kind of classified as, the 6 weeks after the time frame, 6 weeks after a woman has delivered a child.
Okay, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what a lot of people are familiar with,
Mm-hmm.
those 6 weeks, because it's like, okay, regardless of, the outcome of the birth
Mm-hmm.
and things like that, um,
Mm-hmm.
6 weeks or so following, you're back at the OB's office or the midwife's office for your follow-up visit, if not
Mm-hmm.
before.
Right.
But in talking with you and just in learning and practicing medicine over the years, there's a lot of things that can go on after that 6 weeks,
Yes.
from a mental health standpoint to a
Mm-hmm.
health standpoint. So I want to talk about some of those things tonight.
Okay. Okay. Great. Great. Yeah. So we're conditioned, to think after you have that 6 weeks checkup, you go back to normal. And even the people in our support group, in our network, the people that our village, I'll say that word. Everybody thinks that after 6 weeks, you're supposed to have it together. You're supposed to have it together by 6 weeks. And so because we've been conditioned that way, we are sometimes less likely to ask for help after that period, because we've been conditioned that way. We think as a woman, we should have it all together. So why should I be asking for help? I shouldn't be asking for help. Something must be wrong, but we don't like reach out for help after that point. We either suffer through it, or something actually happens in a negative standpoint, and then people have to come in like in an emergent way, not necessarily in a preventive way.
Gotcha. Okay, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's something, as we look at the different cultures around the world, and
Mm-hmm.
even of times past where, you know, moms were taken care of for even, longer periods of time,
Mm-hmm.
by other female family members. Um, I remember the granny midwives, things like
Mm-hmm.
that, would
Right.
come in and make sure they're eating and
Mm-hmm.
nourished, making sure they're comfortable, making sure that their needs are met and that child's needs are met. Um,
Right.
would you say, as is your role as a postpartum doula, that you've noticed that you've had to step into some of that in our current culture?
Yeah. So when you talk about our forefathers back then, 6 weeks, 6, 8 weeks of them coming in, and they pretty much took over care. They took care of that mom, they took care of the baby, they fixed foods, they cleaned the house, like they really scooped in and took care of that mom. And so 6 to 8 weeks, long time ago, looks different from 6 to 8 weeks now. You know, we kind of laugh at some of the stuff that the people used to say, can't wash your hair, you can't wear high heel shoes, you can't go outside. You know, we laugh at that now, ha ha ha, like that, like it's like, oh, we can do all of that things. But I think that that's kind of where we miss the boat, is because it's like the earlier a mama is able to get out and go to the store and, you know, do all of these things for herself, that says, you know, she the bomb, like, I got this. But we missed the boat because there's healing that has to take care. We have to take care of the inside. We may look like we have it together on the outside. You know, your stomach may have, it may not be flat, but it's definitely not the size that it was when you were pregnant. And then if you have a vaginal delivery, some of those mamas are, you know, on their way home from the hospital, stopping at the store before they get home. So I think that taking care of them a long time ago looks different from what it looks like now. And that's where we run into issues. Kind of going a little bit past the 6 or the 8 weeks period, you know, a lot of mental health issues are picked up. They're usually seen pretty early on. You know, if there's going to be some type of mental issue going on with that mom, you usually are going to see it within the first couple of weeks, maybe within that first month. You'll usually see some of those major things. But what we have to remember in our community as African Americans, as it relates to maternal health, we die like 3 to 4 times more than our white counterparts. So yes, we may have had a vaginal delivery and everything seems fine, but we could have developed high blood pressure. We could have, you know, we could be struggling with a nagging headache that's just not going away. We don't understand why we're still dealing with this headache, but we had Medicaid, you know, when we were pregnant. Now we don't have. It's a little bit different now, but now we don't have any insurance. And so people don't go back to the doctor, or after those 6 weeks, people don't follow up with their physicians. They just push through this headache. They push through this backache. You know, they push through this, I'm getting a little tired, but it's probably because I've been up all night. But I feel like if you had a village, if you had a circle of friends, if you had a circle of people that you can call, maybe they can see something or recognize something that you don't recognize. And so what I do is the way that I've actually been able to get into some homes is through lactation support. Everybody's familiar with breastfeeding support. Like, can I get some help with this latch? You know, this is really hurting my breast, or my milk is not in, or I don't feel like my baby is getting full. So I'm quick to get phone calls about lactation support. But when I get into the home and I see a sink full of dirty dishes, I see clothes that are piled up in the living room, maybe 2 or 3 baskets of clothes that are not folded up. I see maybe a mom that didn't get to eat breakfast, or maybe she grabbed, you know, like some crackers. Then now I'm in there and I'm like, so what can I do to help you? Because it seems like, you know, you can use some help. Have you had a bath today? Have you had a shower today? Have you been able to brush your teeth today? And so I will send some moms to go to the bathroom. I'll watch the baby. And I do that only because I'm just zoomed in to see when a mom needs help. I still joke with myself sometimes, like, you're never gonna make any money with this business because you give away everything for free. But it's like, why would I come over and assist a mom with lactation support and leave that house when I know she's got a sink full of dirty dishes and she hasn't had a shower? I can't do that. And so and so that's when I start talking to them. So what's your network? Who's the people that you've been calling to help you? Who is that support group, you know, that you have to help you? And if they don't have anybody, then I talk to them about my services and how I can assist them. If they have somebody, I am encouraging them to call them and ask for help. And the other thing that I do on the flip side is I try to educate the community on how important it is to take care of that mom that just had a baby. If you know somebody who just had a baby, offer to take her a meal, offer to, stop by the house and wash the dishes for her or watch the baby for her while she takes, just check in on the mom. It doesn't take that much. To just offer some assistance. Just something as simple as that can really go a long way for a postpartum mom. Sorry, I didn't mean to take up that much of your
No,
time.
that was great. Like I had like so many thoughts fired off in my head just listening to you talk. One thing is, like you said, like, everybody wants to come visit. I was just thinking about this. Everybody wants to come visit the baby. Everybody wants to come see the baby. But it's like, don't forget about mom.
Right. Don't
You
forget
know,
about mom.
you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
and it is good for mom to be able to ask for the things that she needs, even if it is like, I need a nap, and you have a trusted network, and you're like, okay, well, I got this amount of time and I can help you with that, even I think a hot meal, like you said,
Yes.
those type of
Yes.
things that goes a long way.
Yes.
Being,
Yes.
some diapers and all the nice, pretty gifts from the baby shower are great.
Right.
But even if somebody
In
doesn't,
those first few weeks, there's only so many outfits the baby can put on.
there you
And
go.
you can take that same money, and we have a lot of eateries in our area. And now we have the people that deliver the foods for you.
Right.
If it's really that much of an ordeal for you to bring the food over, you can invest 1 week of lunch and it comes to her every day.
Right.
Uber Eats, they just bring her food, but we have to take care of the inside. The inside also needs to be healed. So things that soups and broths and juices, things that are warm that mom can take in. They don't require a lot. Soup, you can prepare a big pot of soup and just put it in the individual service, and you could take 5 of them and give it to the mom, and that'll be lunch for 5 days, or it could be lunch for 3 days and dinner for 2 days. But those are some of the things that mom needs, and she shouldn't have to be getting up and have to prepare that food. My prayer is that someone will be in her network to prepare those things, but if not, I'm available.
That's why we need more people like you. But yes, I mean, I think the fact that you're focused on, like, you need to be nourished during that time, being gentle with yourself, giving yourself grace,
Yes.
during that time period.
Yes.
And that kind of leads me into, you see all the pictures where people are the snapback after baby. A lot of it to me is unrealistic because yes, you need to move your body, little by little, getting back to activity. You need to eat well and nourish yourself and things like that. But the other extreme is people are like, I got to get back to my post baby weight or beyond, beyond a little bit lower than that. And I just think it comes at a detriment, not only physically, but emotionally and mentally as well.
Yeah. And what I think happens is some people, so I think everybody has their own gift. And so some people can naturally just drop the weight, and next week they are in their regular clothes. Some of them might even be a little smaller than they were when they before they got started. But the majority of us are not. And so here's the thing. Here's the thing. On social media, when we see pregnancy, when we see maternal, we see Mom, beautiful dress, flowing gown, you know, the heart on the stomach. And I'm not making light of any of that, because there's some gorgeous pictures, but that's what we see. And then after the baby is born, you know, we see the baby's wrapped up in the nice little swaddly clothes, and they're just beautiful. But what people don't show is, you know, some childbirth is horrific, to say the word. You know, it's bloody, it's hard, it's painful. It's not pretty. It's ugly. But when people go through that, the majority of the people, when they go through that, they think that something is wrong with them, because that's not what's been portrayed.
Right.
So something must be wrong with me. I don't understand how come I'm so swole. I don't understand how come my blood pressure won't go down. I don't understand how come I can't drop this weight. But the majority of the time, people are not just dropping weight like that. It takes time.
Mm-hmm.
And if you are a breastfeeding mom, you know, I always throw in that little caveat. You know, there's a rumor that breastfeeding can help you lose that pre-pregnancy weight. And the rumor may be true, but there's also a fact that breastfeeding increases your appetite. Mm-hmm. And so if you are sitting, and that's all you're doing is sitting and taking care of this baby, and your appetite is being increased, and you're just snacking on the closest thing that you can get your hands to without having to cook, if you don't have a support person. So you're grabbing on, you know, quick carbs, and you're just grabbing on something that you don't have to spend a lot of time. You're going to gain weight. You're not going to lose weight. Right. You're going to gain some weight. Mm-hmm. And so I just don't think that we have honest conversations about what maternal health looks like. And then when something bad happens, people are caught off guard, like, well, where did that come from? Mm-hmm. I don't understand how come this had to happen to me. Actually, it's probably happening to a lot of people. It's just that you don't see that part. And then, you know, when it happens to our like the famous people, you know, we may pay a little bit more attention to it, but it happens in our community every single day. And that snapback thing, I'm starting to see that before the people leave the hospital. I work at the hospital 2 days a week, and I'm starting to see that before they leave the hospital, try to snap back before they even. You have to give yourself grace. And I just don't think as a society, that's what we're doing.
Right. I think that's from a standpoint of the medical standpoint as well, you know, beyond, you know, care in the hospital or birth center, wherever you are at home, you know, there's still some things going on when you get home. It doesn't just end when you leave that center.
Right.
You know, it's
You've
still some things you need to watch out for and things like that. And I think we're such in a rush to quote unquote get back to normal, even, you know, and I hate to see it how some women, they have to go back to work, and they would really like to, but it's a need, a necessity there, and they're mentally and physically not ready.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say too, is that unfortunately some of us do have to hurry up and get it together, because we do have to go back, but it still doesn't, that still should not replace you reaching out to that mom to see if she needs some help. Just because she went back to work doesn't mean that she was ready to go back to work. She went back to work because that was her bread and butter for her family. But, you know, on the weekends, you can come and give her a break, because she's probably not sleeping that night. You know, she's probably still waking up through the night, doing feeds to that baby. If she's breastfeeding, she's probably, you know, getting up breastfeeding. If she's not, if she's doing formula, that she may have to still get up once during the night to give the baby a bottle. So, you know, just even offering her time to get a nap, Or you just agree and to go and wash her clothes for her. Maybe that you can just relieve her of that duty that weekend. I don't know. Sometimes I feel like people think that they may be getting taken advantage of, but I'm just such a believer of taking care of that postpartum mom that I just look beyond that. I mean, I just washed some dishes. So how did she take advantage of me? I just washed her dishes. But to me, when I'm leaving her house, at least I know for the next few minutes or so, she can just sit down. She doesn't have to get up and do anything. I remember taking care of a mom. I was actually taking care of her older child. Um, she didn't hire me per se to take care of her. But one day she was like, can I just get a nap? And I was like, sure. So maybe she had I think she took a nap. And so when she woke up, I had taken it upon myself to clean up the baby's room. The baby wasn't sleeping in the room. The baby was sleeping in her room in the bassinet. But I took the clothes and put them in the drawer, and took all of the stuff that she had in the crib and just folded it up and put it in the drawer, and just tried to make that space ready for her to be ready, like for it to receive her when she come in, instead of her having to go in and fix it for her to come in. So when she went in there, I don't even think she went in there the same day. I think it was like a day or two later, she went in the room and she was like, oh my gosh, I didn't know that you cleaned up my baby's room for me. Thank you so much. But that's one less thing that she doesn't have to worry about doing.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Yeah. I mean, all the little things count.
Mhm,
They
mhm,
matter
yeah,
when you're
it does.
when your main thing is taking care of this little person.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah.
That should be the focus. The focus should really just be on taking care of that mom. And I trying to start this campaign. Like, if we don't take care of this mom, you might be taking care of her baby. And
Mhm.
I mean that literally,
Mhm.
because she could die. And
Right.
we don't think about a few weeks ago, there was a pastor on TV, kind of speaking to a lot of the issues that are happening in the community. And so they were trying to have a rally, and he was being interviewed, and he made the comment. He was like, it doesn't become an issue for you until it becomes an issue for you. And I'm paraphrasing it, but maternal health doesn't become an issue for you really until it becomes an issue for you. And
Right.
that is, your family member died, the baby died. It
Mhm.
could be, that mom ended up having to be in the hospital for months and months and months before she had the baby. Just it doesn't become an issue until it's an issue. And then in that moment, you're um, like running around trying to get resources, when if you had, and I'm not saying that this is the reason, but if you can educate yourself in the beginning
Right. Right.
and know what questions to ask, know what to look for, know how to navigate that medical system,
Mhm.
maybe the results could have been a little bit different. But I'm also a stickler of everything that happens. There's a purpose
Mhm.
for it. But I just feel like it's not an issue for someone until it becomes an issue for
Right.
someone.
Yeah. If you think about it, there's a lot of things that go on during a pregnancy, after a pregnancy, that many will come to you and is like, I didn't think that would happen, or I didn't
Mhm,
even know that was a thing. you
mhm,
know,
mhm,
and you're like,
mhm.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and then their eyes are open to those things. But yeah, like if we could make it normal to talk
Mhm.
about the things that could happen, not just you're gonna bring home this beautiful baby. Yeah.
Yes, yes. I mean,
Um,
there's so many things, so many
yeah,
things.
it's
I
a
even think
lot.
about, yeah, I even think about how, people it was supposed to be this sex and it turned out to be another sex, or they were hoping for one sex of a child and then another child, they was hoping for a female, but a male was born. They thought it was a male, but a female was born. They went in thinking that they were going to have a vaginal delivery, but it turned into a cesarean. They, just things didn't go the way that they planned. And then now that's traumatic. And so we dismiss trauma. We dismiss trauma. Trauma is so real. And I think too, when we ignore those things, it can cause issues down the line. So another thing that I love to do when I go and visit a mom that's just had a baby is to just give her space, allow her space to tell me how delivery went. How was your birth? Give me your birth story. Let's talk about it. And you'll be amazed at how some of the people talk about or how they perceive their birth to have gone. And how they feel that their bodies failed them. And then now we want them to breastfeed. And so I already think that my body failed me delivering my baby. Now you're saying that my milk is going to come in 3 to 5 days. And right now I'm just supposed to trust my body when my body just failed me. It's just so many other things that I look at when I'm looking at a postpartum mom that I just feel like we have just got to stop passing over. We really got to give that mom a space to share her story.
Yeah, that's the truth. That's the truth. Tell me some of the things that you find yourself helping moms with and parents with when that baby is 4 months old, 6 months old, even 9 months, close to a year. What are some things you find yourself at that point helping parents with?
Routine, really. So the first 3 months, I'm all about mom and baby. And let's not forget, I'm not forgetting my daddies, because my daddies are like pivotal as it relates to the maternal health. But the first 3 months, I'm just love on your baby. Get familiar with your baby. If that involves you putting this baby here and he never leaves your chest, then he just has to stay there and never leave your chest for the first 3 months. You got to get familiar with your baby. Let the baby get familiar with you. Learn their routines. Learn how they cry. Learn, what they act like when they go to sleep. Learn what they act like when they're wet. Because when they turn 4 months old, now it's a different story. At 4 months old, we don't just keep them here. 4 months old, it's like, nope, you can stay in the crib a little bit longer because I know you're sleepy. I know it's time for you to eat. So I'm coming. I just got to brush my teeth really quick, but I'm coming. Like you're actually, now you're, the baby doesn't stay here. You are now trying to get this baby to self-soothe. You're trying to get this baby to learn that you'll be back. You're teaching them trust versus mistrust. You've already started doing that by responding to the baby's every need when they were first born. But now they're 4 months old. So you kind of know them. You know that cry, that sleepy cry, that hungry cry, them. And so now you can kind of leave them alone to play with, to play by themselves for a little bit. Around 6 months, I'm talking to them, well, between 4 and 6 months, I'm talking to them about feeding and letting the baby explore food with their fingers and being on the floor and, touching the carpets on the floor, just textures, just some of the stuff that we just think that's an automatic that this baby's just supposed to do. You gotta introduce them to that. You gotta introduce the baby to those things. And now it's like playing with them, making faces with them, see if they make faces with you, teaching them how to actually roll over and sit up. You can teach your baby that. Some people just, I wish I have some dolls in the background and they're just like, they're just sitting up, right? Well, sometimes we take our children and we just sit them up. And so the kid is sitting there and they're like, I don't know how I got here. And so they just fall over because they don't
Yeah,
know how they
right,
got,
right.
they don't know how I got into this position. But I try to teach parents like how to, from the stomach, how to roll them over to their side and how to take their finger and let them use their finger as a grip to sit up. I'm trying to teach them those things. I talk to them about, we go over like child development things. If I've done ages and stages for so long when I used to work in the community health, that now it's like at a certain age, I'm looking at a child and I'm watching like how they interact with their moms. And so I've learned how to kind of nicely say, might want to talk to the doctor about blah, 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 blah.
Mhm.
But I never want to make a mom think that something is wrong with her baby because we get very defensive during those times. And a lot of times when you're just trying to get help for the child, you can actually push that mom away from you and her not get help only because she's trying to prove to you that there's nothing wrong with my child.
Right.
So sometimes I'll just give them activities to do with their baby and then let them come and ask me, my baby didn't blah, 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 blah. And then it just kind of opens the door for conversations. But I also get into how to wean the baby. You can do baby-led weaning or you can do mommy-led weaning. I talk about, when you start doing different activities with the baby, that there comes a what's the word I'm looking for? Like an addictive behavior.
Okay.
So how like, no, we've been doing it this way for a long time. Now you're trying to tell me we're going to do it another way. Then that child gets, they start having withdrawals because you're not doing that anymore. So when you're getting ready to, if you're doing mommy-led weaning, your baby's been coming to your breasts like as he or she wants to, and now you're trying to do mommy-led weaning, your baby's going to go through some withdrawal. So if you're not ready for that, don't do it. Don't do don't do things because you're getting the peer pressure from other people in your circle that are saying that they're doing it. So it's really just about I turn the picture from now to that bonding to a child development issue where we're making sure that that baby is developing the way that he or she should be developing. And I try to give mom those tools that she can use to and dad to see whether or not that baby is developing the way that they should be.
Awesome. Those are some things, we just hear about, those 6 weeks.
Yeah, it's way past that. It was way
after
past
that. And I think about the moms who have had, we talk about development of the child and things like that. But just thinking about the moms who already have a chronic health issue, or they've developed hypertension and preeclampsia and things like that during pregnancy, or they've had some gestational diabetes or something like that during pregnancy. So that even in the midst of watching and making sure that baby is developing and things like that, mom needs to be paying attention to her health, her mental health, her physical health. So that's one reason I wanted to bring you here, because I mean, it's so much knowledge that you have. It's so much experience, so I'll ask the question, like, for those moms who have like chronic health issues or have developed some type of issue during pregnancy, what do they need to be talking to their primary care doctor about once they're released from their OB's care?
Okay. So the biggest things we usually hear about is high blood pressure, diabetes, and sometimes cardiovascular diseases. So
Mhm.
even bleeding, where a mom may have had to receive a blood transfusion in the hospital because she hemorrhaged. And so when she goes home, she may be, fatigued or have a low iron level because of the hemorrhage part. But the major ones would be things that's involved in the cardiovascular system, your blood pressure, and that diabetes. If the mom did not have any issues before she got pregnant, at least she was not aware of,
Mhm.
we call these maternal morbidity. So these are illnesses that developed while she was pregnant, and now she continues to have that issue after the pregnancy. And so once the OB provider has stopped seeing them, and if she doesn't have a primary care physician, she definitely needs one. And 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 looking for one, if she didn't have one prior to, the first thing she needs to say when searching for a medical provider is, I just had a baby 6 weeks ago, 8 weeks ago, 12 weeks ago. And during the time that I was pregnant, I developed high blood pressure, and they said that I had preeclampsia during the pregnancy. So something needs to come out of her mouth related to she just had a baby. That needs to be the first thing she communicates to that office when she calls them, because they are more likely to get her in quicker than later. When she goes to the medical provider, she needs to share, and even if she can get copies of those records from the OB provider, and she may not need necessarily the birth stuff, but definitely the office visits that showed her blood pressure and like the weight gain that she had. Those things need to go with her to her now medical provider, and she needs to be seen. Typically, primary care physicians will see you like every 3 months. Because she would have just delivered a baby and there was an issue, they may see her every month. It just depends on where she goes. But she definitely needs to be seen by a medical provider. And if she didn't have one, that's how she would start that communication. If she became pregnant and she had a medical provider while she's pregnant, and now the OB provider is telling her that she has high blood pressure or diabetes, she should be communicating that right then with that primary care doctor alongside the OB provider. They should both be involved in her care, because if something goes left and she is hospitalized, the OB provider is only going to see you for OB reasons when you go into that hospital. They're not going to see you for the medical stuff. So she still needs to be seeing her medical provider alongside her OB provider, especially if she has issues. Get a blood pressure cuff. If they are already talking to you about your blood pressure is up, you need to have a blood pressure cuff in your house at your home, and you need to know how to work it. You need to know what your baseline is, and if you've never taken your blood pressure before, when you start going to the OB, when you start going for OB care, you need to know what your baseline blood pressure is, because that's another thing. Maybe somebody's blood pressure is like 100 over 70. I'm just making that up. Maybe that's a standard normal blood pressure for somebody. But then, in that towards the last trimester, their blood pressure is 130 over 90. I'm just making it up. On the surface, 130 over 90 may not necessarily be high, but for you, because you've always been 100 over something, that really may be a significant jump for you. So knowing where your baseline is, and not being afraid to say, you're gonna have to do something else, doctor, because this is not my normal. Or having somebody in your village to speak up for you. you need to, that needs to be communicated. And I think too, just being able to have a physician that you can have those conversations with. I think you and I had this conversation some months ago when I first met you. And it's one thing to have access to care.
Mhm.
It's another thing to have access to care with somebody that you trust.
Right.
And I think too, just because we have we have tons and tons of OB providers in our area, but if you can't trust the 3 that you went to, who's to say you really have access to care? You have access to an OB provider, but is it really the access to the type of care that you want to receive? And so sometimes you have to do a little looking more to find the provider that's going to benefit you.
I think that is a good point. Because I've always said, you shouldn't be comfortable to ask questions about what's going on with your body and or concerns about something that's different for you. And if you're not getting those things addressed, then by all means, it's okay to move on to the next primary care doctor or whoever you're
Yeah.
seeing, because especially even prior to someone becoming pregnant and then after pregnancy, there's some things we need to talk about and we need to have open conversation about. But if you feel rushed, you don't feel like you can trust follow up or someone is actually hearing you and understanding that you have a concern about different things,
Right.
that could definitely be an issue, even especially like postpartum,
Right.
if you've had issues and things like that.
Mhm.
And if you've had issues during a pregnancy, your primary care should be able to assist you, especially if you plan on other pregnancies and things like that,
Mhm.
to look after your health
Right.
at that point. And making sure
Mhm.
that you get to a point that you have what you need, and looking at the type of medications, especially if you're trying to
Exactly.
get pregnant, the type of
Mhm.
medications that you are on
Mhm.
for
Yeah.
different conditions and things like that. So I
Yeah.
think that relationship and that openness with the primary care is very helpful before pregnancy and definitely postpartum, and if you've had some
Yeah.
issues going on.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think too, you brought up medication. If I've got a mom that really wants to breastfeed and she's already on a particular medication that may be an L3 medication, it's not compatible with breastfeeding. We can start having conversations before that baby is born with the physician. Is there another medication that she can take that's more compatible with breastfeeding because this is important to her? But you as the patient don't have to say, well, I can't breastfeed because I'm just making up something. I'm taking, I don't know, Xanax. I'm just making that up. But so I can't breastfeed. But if breastfeeding is really important to you and you can communicate that to the physician that you are seeing, maybe maybe you all can come to a decision on another medication that would be compatible with breastfeeding if that's what you really want to do. I just think sometimes we because they are a doctor, and then this is what they say, we have to go by what they say. I'm guilty of it too. We have to just go by what they say because they are the physician. But when something is really important to you, I don't think that there's anything wrong with you having some dialogue about, can I do A, B, and C versus D, E, and F, if it doesn't cause that much of an issue to my body.
That is on point and so
Yeah,
correct.
yeah,
And that
yeah.
reminds me, I do want to get you back to talk about breastfeeding in
Yes, yes,
in
yes.
time.
Yes,
So
yes, yes, yes,
this
yes.
is National breastfeeding month.
Breastfeeding month.
Yes.
Yes.
So
Step up to breastfeeding. I think it's
yes,
the theme. It's the theme.
yes,
And yeah, would love to talk about that. I was gonna can I put a plug in here?
yes. I was gonna ask you to put a plug in.
Next 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 Saturday,
Mhm.
August the 13th at the Rosa Jackson Community Center. We will be doing an event. I'm partnering with the Bibb County Health Department, and we're putting on an event called Peach Table Talks. Um, um, it should be a very enlightening and educational talk. We're going to have brunch. It's kind of like a little dressy. It's not, you don't have to dress up, but you do have to RSVP because space is limited. But I will serve brunch. We are going to watch a movie. I haven't decided. I have two movies that I would like to show, but one of them is sticking out in my head. We'll watch a movie. We'll have brunch, and then we will have some conversations at the table around maternal health, around the community, around voting, and why is that so important to us. It's going to be from 12 to 2. And I don't know if I sent you the flyer or not, but I can send
Yes.
you the flyer so that you can put it on your page. But all I need for you to do, everything is free food, free fun, free facts, and free giveaways. And so, but all I need you to do is to RSVP. There's a number on the flyer that I will need you to RSVP to say that you're coming, because space is limited.
Yes. So all of you in Middle Georgia, this is a good community conversation. That's going to go on.
Yes,
I was
it
ready for you to mention it. And I want you to also, before we go, tell us about your personal business, your prime time baby consulting.
So Prime BabyTime Consultant is my own business. I am a certified postpartum doula. I'm a registered nurse, and I'm also an international board certified lactation consultant. And I don't say that to be braggy, but IBCLCs are very, very rare among African American communities. I think we hold about, I don't know, less than 15% of those titles. So but I have, like Dr. Evans was saying, I have my own business, and so I do provide postpartum doula services to families. I haven't loaded them yet, but I am in the process of loading new packages on my website, which is www.pbabytimec.com. There's 3 packages on there now, but they're changing. One will be a postpartum doula and lactation package where I offer all the services. The other one is lactation specific, and then the last one is postpartum doula specific. And then the special needs, just if you are antenatal mom that's been placed on bed rest and you just need some extra support around the house, I can provide support to you. If you have suffered a loss, and it can be spontaneous or elect, I can also provide support to you that way. I was trying to think of something. Oh, and if you just just need extra support, I can do a lot of that extra stuff. I am on Facebook. It's the Prime BabyTime Consultant is the business page, but I also have a page called It Takes a Village Maternal Health Expo, which I want to change to Explosion, because I don't know. Every time I talk about it, I feel like I'll be about to explode because I just love maternal health so much. But it's called It Takes a Village Maternal Health Expo, and it is a public page. Just join, invite your friends to join it. What I do with that one is this year was my first year hosting a maternal health expo. I did it in Perry, Georgia. And I plan to do the expo every year. That's a large event where we have vendors to come out, share information about their business as it relates to maternal health. So it could be counselors there, doctors there, hospitals there, fitness there, just anything that's related to maternal health. Those vendors can come into that space. During the year, what I've been doing is I've been going from community to community, setting up tables, sharing information about maternal health. You know, there are 70 or 80 counties in Georgia that do not have OB providers in their community. Mm-hmm. And of those communities, you know, a lot of those communities don't have pediatrician offices in their space. These people have to travel. And so the thought is to just go into those communities and have conversations about how do you take care of that maternal mom or that baby in that space where you don't have access to care. So I've been busy. I've been busy, but I love every minute of it. I didn't share this in the beginning, but I am the result of a maternal mortality. My birth mother passed away, Eloise Jackson passed away 22 days after I was born. And so I was child number 8. And so I can speak to, when I talk about maternal health, I'm not just speaking from someone who went and learned it in the classroom. I'm speaking to a lot of moms too, from experience. And I can speak from losing the family member in that first year, and also being a product of it growing up as a newborn. How we think that the newborn is fine. They're fine. It's just a baby. You know, so-and-so can raise that baby and they'll be fine. I'm not saying that I'm not fine, but I am saying that there are certain things that don't and do develop in that baby's brain when their birth mother is not there. Mm-hmm. And so I can speak to those too. So when I say help take care of a postpartum mom, so you won't have to take care of her child, I'm speaking to you from experience and not just something that I read in a book.
Right. Yes. And I think that's one of the reasons that your passion shows through. Yes, definitely.
Well, and it wasn't something like, you know, like I didn't grow up saying, "Ooh, I'm gonna do this when I get up."
Right,
there was not that. It was actually just something that even came up over the last couple of years. And I even felt like at the expo, I found my voice because, and I'm still a little nervous or anxious when I talk about it. But that's part of me. And if this is the way that I am supposed to talk to people about taking care of that maternal population, then this is just the way that I have to do it. And I think that God will take care of me in the midst as those wounds open up.
I understand that. I hear you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, I thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing all your gifts with this community.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna put all your information.
Okay.
In our Facebook page.
Okay.
So people that need you and need your services can make sure that they contact you if they're interested in the event on the 13th. That they can definitely RSVP. We'll have that there. And I just thank you for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Well, I was like, yes, I must contact Miss Patricia Prime to talk about this.
Well,
But
thank you so much.
you're welcome.
I just believe, I still just believe it's such a time as this because it has,
Right.
again, it was not something that I was, like striving to do. It was just like revealed, and it's been going from there. So
Well, you
I
are
think
definitely walking in purpose.
I'm walking in purpose. Yeah, I think I can agree with that one. I think that's what it is because he's definitely taking care of us. He's definitely taking care of us.
Definitely.
He's definitely taking care of us. But it is so, it's just so nice to have this space. And there's a few of you guys that I've met in this space, and and to not have knowledge of any of you all before, this within this last year of me walking in purpose, is for me to not have known any of you all. I feel like I have known you all like forever. So I'm really just excited about the space, and I'm excited about what I'll be working with you doing.
Yes, I think a lot of good things will come. We'll keep talking. We'll keep collaborating.
Yes. We got another one in our circle that likes to push us into purpose. So I don't know. Might put up a building somewhere. I don't know. We'll see.
Well, thank you again, Miss Patricia. And
You're so welcome.
like I said, we'll put all the information below. If anybody, you fit into that space where you are needing a primary care doctor, please, by all means, contact Rejuvenant Family Health Care. And we would love to take care of you and make sure that you are well taken care of and well heard and well seen. All right, everyone, y'all have a good night.
Nice meeting everybody.
Bye.